I do feel that COP25 is a very important COP in the sense that it has been held less than 3 months since the Climate Action Summit. Now, these two things come hand in hand. The Climate Action Summit was a summit to raise the ambition, and now COP25 is the beginning of the entry into the next decade, which has been called the Decade of Action by the Secretary General. So yes, we have raised ambition, and I think the ambition can be seen most palpably among the youth, but also the private sector, I would say. A lot of the private sector members are now looking at this as their own issue. So we are now ready to go into the Decade of Action, when which the Sendai Framework also has to be achieved. And the achievement of the Sendai Framework, because being resilient to disaster is so important for sustainable development, it directly impacts the success of the SDGs. So I do feel that that's where we are right now, and I do feel that when we come together again in Glasgow in COP26 next year in November, that we will see that that action is already taking place in many parts of the world.
When we prepare these reports, our focus is to provide to society, policymakers and everyone concerned citizen the best available state of knowledge, both on risks but also on solutions and opportunities. And it's really important to see that we are not committed to these major changes. We have choices at every level. Consumer choices at the scale of communities and cities, at the scale of governments, in the industry sector as well. And there are many opportunities for business, for improved livelihoods by taking climate action. And this is really a strong conclusion of our assessment reports as well.
I would say, personally, I'm much more optimistic, having participated in previous COPs, because I see DRR as becoming more and more central to climate change. Even within the discussions, what they're discussing here within loss and damage, the Universal International Mechanism, the LDC countries, they're all looking at how to improve support to comprehensive risk management. They're all talking about how to ensure that finance is available to develop it. These are things that will bring the climate change closer to the DRR. I would say another thing that really struck me is we sort of got the term now climate emergency. And it's coming very strong, and I've seen a lot of even member states sort of using the term climate emergency. And I would say that's going to bring us even closer, because when Sendai and Paris Agreement were agreed in 2015, that brought us together because Sendai Framework started looking at future risks. So that brought us together. And now that the climate change community are looking at emergencies, it's bringing them back to us, because a lot of what we do is dealing with how to ensure that impacts do not become emergencies. So that brings us together. And finally, what we're seeing here at COP25 is a larger presence of the disaster risk management community joining the delegations that have come here. So there's many more of our focal points here, bringing in the DRR. To us, it's important because as we move to 2020, which really is a decade for action, as Greta Thunberg said, it's our last decade actually to get down to business. And with the national risk reduction strategies, we want to see those national risk reduction strategies of disaster risk reduction aligned with other documents like the national adaptation plans. So the fact that we have the DR community here is an enforcement of this need to actually have these documents aligned and working together.